What is going on, everyone? Welcome in to a live Cleveland Browns report, a 3-2 Cleveland Browns report after knocking off the undefeated 49ers. Vibes are high right now in Cleveland. Morale is up. There are still some people out there that want to fire Kevin Stefanski after a win, which makes no sense to me, but we will at least have that conversation, and then we're going to get ourselves ready for this Browns-Colts game because a win that Sunday, 4-2, going to Seattle. Seahawks kind of look like frauds-ish, at least a very beatable team nevertheless. I mean, the Bengals took care of them this past Sunday, so I'm looking at 4-2. I'm looking at 5-2. Got the Cardinals after that. I'm getting ahead of myself. I know, but it's hard not to. I mean, literally, the NFL is the only league where every win, it feels like you just won the Super Bowl, and every loss feels like the season is over. But I'm going to enjoy this win. So with that being said, we got to get ourselves ready for Browns versus Colts. Predict the score. Look ahead for a moment here. This Sunday, Indianapolis without Anthony Richardson, without defensive tackle Grover Stewart, who was just suspended for 6 games. They're hurting. The Browns are getting healthy. The Browns just beat the 49ers with half of their roster healthy pretty much. Let me know. Browns versus Colts. What are your score predictions? Get them in the chat right now. I'm going to give some shout-outs here as Cool Guy is giving the Browns a 32-9 victory. I don't want to be cocky because the Niners were cocky. The Niners came to Cleveland, thought they could talk shit, thought that they could make that their own home place, got into a fight before the game because the Browns DBs were like, I don't know who you think you are, but you're not going to come into our house and disrespect us like that. And then JOK set the tone on the opening kickoff. And after that, it was an absolute street fight in between the trenches and whatnot, and the Browns dominated, and they kicked the 49ers' ass where it mattered most. Patel says, I don't know, took it away. Heather, 27-12. Scott Zappo, what's going on, Scott? 27-10. We got Munnings, 28-3. I don't think any team ever wants to win 28-3. If you win 28-3, that means you were leading at one point 28-3, and that's the scariest score in the history of football. Iron Patel, 27-10. Jersey Dog, 24-13 Browns if Watson doesn't play. Anthony, 42-20. I've got 35-3 Colts in favor of Cleveland. 35-3 Browns, I should say. Ty Man the Buckeye, 31-10 Browns. Are you okay? Okay. Producer Trace just got up out of nowhere like he was about to... He's got an athletic, powerful stance for a moment right there. I thought you were about to storm the stage. Joshua Miller, what's going on, Josh? 24-10. All right. We have a super chat coming in from Jacob Kistner. Can we get the campaign started for Jim Schwartz for Coach of the Year? Where's the rule that says it has to be a head coach? Can't believe I won the elf race on Sunday. Is it head coach of the year or is it coach of the year? Someone do the fact checking for me because I always just know as AP Coach of the Year. I suppose that could be a coordinator. I mean, I'm thinking right now who the early front runners would be for Coach of the Year. Dan Campbell is probably in line to win it. Mike McDaniel would be up there. It's not going to be D'Amico for the Texans exceeding expectations. Probably not going to be like Nick Sirianni or Andy Reid. That's just not how those awards work. I think Dan Campbell is probably in line to take home that award at the rate this season is going. Trace, you got fact checker coming in.
So there's AP Coach of the Year, and then there is also an AP Assistant Coach.
Oh, Jim Schwartz has won that one. Okay, clap it up for Jim Schwartz, everyone. We're gonna crown Jim Schwartz the AP Assistant Coach of the Year. Jimmy, you won it. Congratulations. Jacob, keep your eyes on your mail. We've got the flag signed and sealed and delivered, so hopefully it's gonna be coming in the next few days. But yeah. Winning that elf race, I mean, that was a 40-deep elf race. So for you to come out on top, I mean, I can't even begin to do the odds on that. Like 1 in 40 probably. I'm just kidding. All right, Jacob, thank you so much, man. We'll see you throughout the week and on Sunday, of course. Shout out your city. Let me know where you are watching from right now. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of today's show in just a few minutes, but you know how we like to operate. We want everyone to click on the notification, click on the show, and join the show before we start getting going. So shout out your city for me in the chat. It's always good to see familiar faces and names, but I want to see some new ones. So if you have never shout out your city before in the chat before, do so right now. In fact, I'm not going to shout out a single person city until I see a brand new one in the live chat. So shout out your city. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a new one. Sheboygan, Wisconsin from Dr. Gav. Sheboygan. Okay, that's a new one. Can we get some other new ones? Scott Zappa, formerly South Euclid, Cleveland Heights. Okay. Looking for a new one. Adele, Virginia Beach. That feels new. Tim Harsh, Cleveland born, reside in Cincinnati. I've got Lil Beam in Ohio. Tyman, you're not in UK. Oh, Chad Earl over in the Volunteer State. Colloquia, Tennessee. I've got Heather in Ohio, along with Numeric. New Britain, Connecticut. That's a new one. Okay. Love to see it. A Gmail user is also in the Buckeye State. Dade City, Florida. Brand new one. North Korea. I don't think they're in an allows you to join the Cleveland Browns report. Billy Moss is in Niles. And then Josh is picking up dinner. Josh, what are you getting for dinner? What are you going to have for dinner tonight, Trace?
So last night I made some homemade mac and cheese with some ground sausage, ground beef.
Yeah.
And I had cut up some jalapenos and bacon, threw it all together. So I'm gonna eat those leftovers.
I made burgers last night, but what I do is I stop at the grocery store on the way home, go to the butcher section, and get like the good bacon.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, the thick cut.
The thick cut bacon.
Not that Jimmy Dean nonsense.
And then I always get a little bit extra. So for today, I'll have the leftover bacon, and all I have in the fridge to go with is eggs.
Is it the same? Beef that you got sent by? It was your grandmother, right?
Oh yeah, my grandma sent me. She sent me Omaha steaks.
Omaha steaks.
Yeah, no, she sent me the burgers from that. That's where I got the burgers from.
Okay.
But I made it. I made a fried egg on my burger yesterday, and then had a little bit of guacamole left over from Chipotle. Put that on the toasted bun. It was an elite burger. Elite burger.
That sounds so.
All right,
good.
enough about my dietary stuff here. What's your confidence level in Kevin Stefanski? Scale of 1 to 10, because I don't get it. I don't understand this fan base at times, a lot of the time. The Browns just beat the 5-0 49ers. There should be parade routes being planned. Not talking about firing Stefanski. And I'm not even talking about just one person taking one dumb tweet and making a whole big thing out of it. Oh, no. I know for the 130 people watching right now, there are multiple of you who are still not a fan of Stefanski, which you cannot be a fan of him, that's fine. But after a win, that's just not the time to be the loudest Kevin Stefanski hater, right? If you don't think a certain player is good, like take Tua, for example. Tua's kind of been the Stefanski of the NFL quarterback world. There are lots of times where Tua doesn't look good, and it's easy to rip on Tua. But you don't do it after he throws for like 450 yards and 5 touchdowns against Denver. That's not the time to rip on Tua. Yet, people do that for Stefanski after he beats the 5-0 49ers. What am I missing here? Help me understand. I don't understand how some people do this. Ty Man the Buckeye, you know I'm always going to say your name, dude. All right, Tim's at an 8. Herman's at a 6. Sean's at an 8.5. Josh is at a 7. Scott's at an 11. Colt Wolf, he needs to stop calling the plays. I think that sometimes fans think that changing the play caller is an automatic improvement. No, there can be worse play callers. There are lots of instances when coaches give up play calling duties and it's worse afterwards. Believe me, you do not want to be in a spot where you take it away from Stefanski, it's worse with AVP, and then you go back to Stefanski. Imagine being the quarterback and it's like, well, one Sunday I'm getting told this, the next Sunday I'm getting told this. We go back and forth. Michael Scott, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. No, I have no reason to believe, and none of us have any reason to believe, that AVP is any better of a play caller. All you're hoping for is that he is better because you believe no one can be worse than Stefanski. That's just not true. You very much could be worse than Kevin Stefanski. There are lots of worse play callers out there than Kevin Stefanski. Is he the best in the league? No. But the idea of there's no way anyone could be worse than that is just a logical fallacy. All right. We're going to have a mailbag later on in the show, as we always do. So start getting those questions in right now. Hashtag Browns. Or if you want to super chat like Jacob did a few minutes ago, you can super chat, skip the line, guarantee your question gets on screen. So we will fast forward the line for you, get you a fast pass if you want to support the show. Super chats always go a really long way. But coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about Kevin Stefanski. We're going to have a group therapy session, a little kumbaya moment. Everyone huddle up. We're going to talk about KS. And then we got that Browns versus Colts preview, predictions, injury reports, all that good stuff. And then the mailbag I was just talking about, hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Okay, so are we ready to start the show? Trace, give me the green light. This is like a rock and roller coaster. I always think of that. If anyone goes to Disney, Disney was 100 years old yesterday?
Walt Disney Company turned 100 years old yesterday.
Oh, I did not know that.
I will say this.
Yeah.
Their recent movies have sucked, but yesterday they put out a really cool clip of like all the Disney characters they've had, and they were all like taking a group photo or whatever. I was like, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I'm not an adult Disney, but I do like Disney.
Yeah.
And that rock and roller coaster over at
totally
MGM,
good.
I mean, you just like 3, 2, 1, go. That's how I think every time we start a live show like this.
3,
Yeah.
2, 1,
all right,
let's rock!
Let's jump into a live Browns report. Let's talk about Kevin Stefanski and this fan base being obsessed with hating Stefanski no matter a win or a loss. We're going to do a different style of a Cleveland Browns report today because we're going to have a bit of a group therapy session, a bit of a, huddle up moment, and really boil it down. Why are people just so determined to hate Stefanski after this team wins? Like, you could maybe win a game and it be in despite of your NFL head coach. But I'll tell you this much. You don't beat a 5-0 San Francisco 49ers team with your practice squad quarterback without an awesome game plan and preparation throughout the week by your NFL head coach. I think sometimes fans think that all coaches do is show up on Sundays. No. They are getting the team ready throughout the week. They are installing a game plan to beat the 49ers. So when this team does beat the 49ers, it's because of what they've been doing this past week, right? What they saw on tape from the 49ers. Areas of weakness they wanted to exploit. Areas for improvement on their own end. So when this team beats a 5-0 49ers team, the reaction should not be, well, Kevin Stefanski didn't do anything. It's all Jim Schwartz. Hey, Jim Schwartz's defense kicked ass, and without them, you're right, they probably don't win this game. But let's not act like Jim Schwartz's defense scored every single point today, okay? Kevin Stefanski's team put up 19 points against one of the best defenses in the NFL with a practice squad quarterback. That is something Jim Schwartz has nothing to do with. So let's run through some quick facts here, kind of set a bit of a baseline, if you will. Under Kevin Stefanski, the Browns are 29-26. That is the best head coaching record for any Browns head coach since '99. In the 55 games prior to Kevin Stefanski, which is 29 plus 26, the Browns are 14-40-1. Think about that. 14 wins in the 55 games prior to Stefanski. 29 wins with Stefanski. And you guys are obsessed with hating on him after wins. They are 1-1 in the playoffs. When they play teams with a record of 500 or greater, they're 9-8. This is not a team that just beats the teams they're supposed to beat, but can't beat the good teams, right? This is not Penn State football. This is a team that goes out there and beats some of the juggernauts, knocks off the 5-0 49ers, right? Hangs with some of the best teams in the NFL. This is a team that can compete with the best of them. And by the way, for all my season ticket holders out there, home record under Kevin Stefanski, 19-10. NFL tickets are not cheap. So when fans spend hundreds of dollars to go to games Sunday after Sunday, and they see loss after loss, it stings a little bit more. Because you're like, I know I just didn't take 3 friends of mine, 4 tickets, $1,200, food, beer, drinks, parking, nearly a $2,000 investment depending on where you're sitting for us to lose. So at least Kevin Stefanski is giving fans a better showing than any Browns coach has done since '99. The Browns beat the 5-0 49ers on Sunday, and some of you guys want to spend all Monday and Tuesday complaining. Why? I don't understand that. Sure, you could come away from a win or a loss, maybe not being completely sold that Kevin Stefanski is an incredible coach, but keep that shit to yourself. You don't have to go out there and broadcast, Stefanski still sucks. What? Kevin Stefanski, I think, and I told this to producer Trace, is like the Tua of NFL head coaches. People have their minds made up, whether he's a good coach or a bad coach. And when they have a bad performance, they use that to support their argument. But when Tua throws for 400 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns against the Broncos and they win 70-20, you don't hear a lot of Tua haters. Yet in Cleveland, when the Browns beat the 5-0 49ers without Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, and Joel Bitonio, fans all of a sudden think, you know what? Coach still sucks. I'm going to let you guys in on a quick fun fact here. Since 2000, quarterbacks with less than 200 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 or more interceptions are 24 and 484. You want to know who fits that criteria? You want to know who's one of those 24 NFL winning QBs in these circumstances? P.J. Walker. 170-ish yards, no touchdowns, no picks. And the Browns offense still put up 19 points. It's not like the defense spotted them a pick 6. No, you had a touchdown and 4 field goals. 5 scoring drives with P.J. Walker being told, you're the starting quarterback on Tuesday. 24 wins. It's happened 500-ish times, and only 24 quarterbacks have won. And by the way, Kevin Stefanski, he has coached 2 of those 24 wins. Remember when Baker had a bad game against the Bengals? Denzel Ward had a pick 6, not the 99-yard pick 6, the 64-yard pick 6 or something like that. That was another game where Kevin Stefanski coached an offense to a win, despite having those numbers from his quarterback. I think ultimately there are too many Browns fans out there that just believe it's rooted in them to hate the head coach. And they have fair reason to do so with the absolute awful line of head coaches that have come before Kevin Stefanski. But I'm going to let you guys in on a quick secret here. This is not the norm. Like other NFL fan bases, they don't do this after wins. Just because Browns fans are conditioned to hate their head coach because Hugh Jackson has them winning 1 game in 2 seasons, doesn't mean that when you get a good head coach that has you winning more often than you're losing, you still have to hate the head coach. Enjoy the winning. It hasn't happened very much lately. Don't waste awesome victory Mondays like it's another loss. There's been way too many of those in Browns history. You guys want to ruin a rare victory Monday for this fan base and this franchise over the last 20 or so years? By all means, if that's how you want to spend your Monday, go do it. Just don't do it in my comment section. I want to enjoy Victory Monday. Every loss, by the way, is always on Stefanski. But not a single win will ever be credited to him. Browns beat the 49ers. Defense was incredible. Not taking anything away from that. It's okay, it's possible for Kevin Stefanski and Jim Schwartz to both be good at their job and be responsible for a win. It doesn't have to be one or another. That's why you have offense and defense. They work together. It's not always going to be just one side winning. If the defense pitches a shutout and is responsible for every single point on the board because of a pick 6 and a scoop and score, fine. That's 100% on Jim Schwartz. But Kevin Stefanski, who is responsible for the offense, coached this team to a good game plan, good execution, and 19 points, and that was enough to beat the 49ers. If I told you before the game the Browns are going to score 19 points, you probably think they've got a better shot of winning this game than maybe I thought beforehand. Give Stefanski credit for that. Give Stefanski credit for this team coming in prepared after the bye, not sluggish, not out of whack, but ready to punch the 5-0 49ers in the mouth. Now listen, I'm not standing here today saying Kevin Stefanski is the best coach in the NFL. No one is saying Stefanski is perfect. There are other coaches I would take over Kevin Stefanski. But can we enjoy for once a season-changing win, beating the 5-0 49ers, improving to 3-2 when no one gave you a chance, with your third-string quarterback on the field, and not fire another coach because that's just what Browns fans are used to doing. They just refuse to accept that they can be happy. Look at some other fan bases out there. No one does this after losses like Browns fans do. And also, for anyone that wants to say it's only Jim Schwartz, might I rebuttal with this? Who hired Jim Schwartz? Does Kevin Stefanski not get any credit for recognizing, Joe Woods, you suck? And instead of compounding my mistake by holding on to you after I hired you, I'm going to correct my mistake. People make mistakes all the time. I make mistakes at work. You make mistakes at work. Do you correct your mistakes? Sure. That's what Kevin Stefanski did. He made a mistake hiring Joe Woods. Everyone makes mistakes. And then he corrected it. And he had a couple of options. He could have gone with some other DCs. But he nailed the choice in Jim Schwartz. But he doesn't get any credit for that. No. Not in some of your guys' minds. And before we get to the rest of my TED Talk on defending Kevin Stefanski, our show today was made possible thanks to our sportsbook partner over at BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. Enter both of those pieces of information in. You can get a 125% deposit bonus. Now let's talk Week 7 odds here. The Browns are on the road, and they are 2.5-point favorites at Indianapolis with Gardner Minshew starting. No more Anthony Richardson. Jim Irsay thinks he could be lost for the rest of the year. So if you want to put some money down on the Browns minus 2.5, chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. Let's talk more about whether or not Stefanski is fair to be getting all of this blame. Because like I said, no one is perfect, but I am just tired and exhausted of fighting these battles online with people who believe, well, Stefanski did nothing this Sunday. Again, can we go back, please, to the stat about quarterbacks who have thrown for less than 200 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and their record since 2000 being 24 and 484, and Kevin Stefanski being the head coach for 2 of those wins? If you don't want to like Stefanski, fine. There are fair reasons to not like him as a head coach at times. But not after beating the 49ers, the 5-0 Niners, with P.J. Walker at quarterback, putting these types of numbers up, and still putting together a good game plan and good in-game adjustments and going to what is working to at least get yourself in a position to win. That is a good coach right there. That is good coaching. He's not perfect. There are times where he overthinks stuff and he gets too cutesy. But you know what? Was Andy Reid perfect with Philadelphia off the bat? No. Was Bill Belichick perfect in Cleveland the first go-around? No. Stefanski might never ever amount to one of those coaches, but find me a coach who in their first 3 seasons was perfect. Not happening. So what's your confidence level in Kevin Stefanski? Let's kind of wrap up the show with this and just some last sense of thoughts I have. Scale it 1 to 10 for me down in the comment section. What's your confidence level in Coach Stefanski? For me, I would put it at a 7.8. I'm at a 7.8 in Stefanski. This team is 3-2, and they've beaten teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, Tennessee Titans, and the San Francisco 49ers. 2 teams that were in their respective championship games last year, and it's a well-coached group from Mike Vrabel. Yeah, sue me for being confident in Stefanski after those 3 wins. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I hope we never have to have another episode like this. I hope everyone can just enjoy Victory Monday and not revert, going back to old ways of, well, I'm just programmed as a Browns fan to wake up every Monday and want to fire the coach. turn your batteries off and put them back in. You don't have to do that when you're winning games, guys. Mike Dibble. What's going on, Mike? I needed to get that off my chest. I feel like I just ran through a brick wall. 7.9. Carlos is at a 9. Scott's at an 8. Brent is at a 3. Ray's at a 5.5. Mark, thank you. Thank you. Tim Green, if they stop Jonathan Taylor, they'll win on Sunday. We've got a full Browns-Colts preview coming up next on the show, and we are going to talk about that. Nick's at a 7. Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza, 7.5. Tyler Thomas is at an 8. Yes, Grover Stewart, the Colts defensive tackle, one of the better pieces on their overall roster, has been suspended 6 games for substance abuse or PED use, something like that. So no Grover Stewart in the middle of the defensive line for Indianapolis, which obviously benefits the Browns, but I don't know, the Browns didn't have Joel Petonio last week, and that was probably the best all-around ground game performance we have seen from Cleveland. So don't assume the next man up mentality does not apply to Indianapolis. Mike Dibble, completely fair points. I think Stefanski gets way too much blame. Yeah, probably does. Probably does. Mailbag coming up in about 20 or so minutes. So start getting those questions in. I'm sure we need a few more questions to help get that one off the ground. So hashtag Browns, or if you want to super chat and skip the line, by all means, feel free to do so. Super chat's always greatly appreciated. Jacob Kistner with a super chat earlier. Thank you, Jacob. Okay. Are we ready? Yes, sir. Jonathan, anyone else watching the U.S. versus Ghana game tonight? Is it the first round of the knockout stage? That's the only time I feel like the U.S. plays Ghana. Okay. Let's get into it. I need a kind of a cool down moment, I feel like. I just got really fired up right there. I mean, it's just like heart to heart here. Fucking 3-2. And you guys are throwing hissy fits. And I know it's not everyone, but right now I'm not actually in a room with all 216 people. Believe it or not, it's a room with a camera, 4 walls, and a TV. So it's hard to really have a personal connection, but like, you know who you are, or you know someone who is that someone, right? There's only 1 degree of Kevin Bacon. Everyone knows someone who came out of that win, and they're like, fucking Stefanski still sucks. Who are you?
Like, my biggest grievance, too, is there's teams who haven't won a game.
Yeah.
Like, there's teams who haven't won.
Mm-hmm.
And you have something to complain about. What?
Yep. Okay, I saw Grant ask, should the Browns trade for a running back? You have to have hashtag Browns in the question somewhere. That's not like a suggestion. Otherwise, the software can't find it from the chat section, pull it, and put it on screen. So you got to include hashtag Browns somewhere in your question, like Ray Bidding just did. All right, here we go. Let's talk Browns Colts. Let's get our preview ready for this upcoming game because, I mean, after every single, excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. After every single win, I feel like the next game is just like that much more of an opportunity to really start to separate yourself from the bottom of the pack in the playoff push. All right, Trace, whenever you're ready. We are going to run through my Browns-Colts preview, predictions, injury report, keys to victory, all that good stuff. But if you are ready to beat the Colts, well, then sub for dubs, baby, because we're trying to get to 26,000 subscribers here on the channel. And if you want to keep the good times rolling, hit that sub button down below. Welcome on in to the 3-2 Cleveland Browns report, and hopefully a 4-2 Cleveland Browns report next Sunday after they take down the 3-3 Indianapolis Colts. On today's show, we're going to run through a bit of a primer to get you guys familiar with the Colts in case you're not some diehard NFL fan that watches 7 hours of commercial-free football every single week, and my keys to victory along with an injury report. So really important stuff. Make sure you stick with us for the entire video. But let's get started with getting ourselves familiar with these two teams, the Browns and the Colts, and kind of look at some of the numbers between Cleveland and Indianapolis, as it's going to be a road game for the Browns at a tough place to play. Indianapolis this year is not 3-3 by accident. They're averaging 28 points per game. Their defense is not very good, giving up 30.4 points per game. But look at the turnover differential. Like, this is a well-coached Indianapolis team that is at even 0. Meanwhile, the Browns, believe it or not, are at -8. That's on the offense, and we'll talk more about that later on. Third down percentage favors the Colts. Red zone percentage favors the Browns. So just looking at those raw numbers, these two teams don't appear to be wildly far off, but the difference maker is that 15.4 points allowed is such an asterisk because that includes the two defensive touchdowns by the Pittsburgh Steelers and then the easy touchdowns for the Ravens after turnovers from the Browns. So when you look at the Indianapolis Colts so far this year, this is how they got to 3-3. They've lost both games to the Jags, their first game and the most recent game. They beat the Texans and the Ravens on the road. They took down the Titans at home in their last home game, and they also lost to the Rams in overtime at home. Now, it's still early in the week. We are filming today's Browns report on Tuesday during our live show, but here's the early initial injury report. Their wide receiver, second-year player Alec Pierce, he is currently dealing with a knee injury. He could be questionable for Sunday. Their tight end, Kylan Granson, remember, they don't have Jelani Woods anymore. They're a second-year player out of Virginia. So they are already very thin at tight end, so that could be a big loss. And then the starting right tackle, Braden Smith, he is dealing with a foot injury. And just before we started filming, their star-ish defensive tackle, Grover Stewart, he got suspended 6 games. So some key pieces for Indianapolis potentially out this Sunday. And, of course, no Anthony Richardson. Now, as for the Browns, we're filming on Tuesday, so I don't have any immediate updates, but Watson's still dealing with a shoulder injury. Joel Petonio sounds like he should be available for this week's game after missing last week's game with a knee injury. Cedric Tillman should be back. Anthony Walker is in concussion protocol. And then Jordan Kunaszyk. We haven't heard his name in a while. Remember, he hurt his knee, I think it was in the Chiefs game, the last preseason game. Started the year on IR. I know Bubba Ventrone would love to have Jordan back on special teams. That would be a big lift for the special teams crew. But speaking of Deshaun Watson, get your predictions in right now. Will he play on Sunday? Like I said, we're filming on Tuesday, so potentially by the time you're watching this, you already know the answer to this question. And if so, we'll just pretend like you watched it before you knew the answer and get your answers in down below. Now, let's get into my keys to victory. First key to victory, stop turning it over. Andrew Berry harped on this when he spoke to the media coming into the bye, and coming out of the bye, that message has still not been received. I mean, look at the teams who are turning the football over the most, and look at their records. You don't want to be in this group. You don't want to sit at this lunch table. This is the peanut table in 5th grade. No one wants to be at that table, and I'm sorry if you were at that table. But Vikings, 13 turnovers. Raiders and Browns tied for 31st with 12 turnovers. You never want to be with the Raiders in anything. The Patriots, 11. Broncos, 11. Bears, 11. All 1-5. You've got more turnovers than those teams. Like, you are playing with fire right now, turning it over this many times, and still having an above 500 record. It's not sustainable. I do not believe the Browns are going to be the first team to be bottom 3 in turnovers and win their division. Sue me. Here's my ultimate fear, is that we might start to see some sort of tension come in this locker room if the offense does not at least pick it up a little bit and stop putting the defense in bad spots with all these turnovers. And we might have what I think sort of happened 2 years ago. Remember the Ravens game when Baker threw 4 interceptions? The Browns picked off Lamar Jackson 4 times, and the offense couldn't do anything with it. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to go in December and the defense feel like we've got guys out here playing their asses off. Guys are getting hurt. Guys are getting injured. And the offense can't do anything with all these turnovers we generate, or they can't stop putting us back on the field in our own red zone. That's my biggest fear. I don't want to see some sort of divide happen because the defense is so severely outplaying the offense, and the offense keeps putting the defense in bad spots because of their turnovers. Now, before we get to the rest of my keys to victory, today's show is sponsored by Z-Biotics. Let's face it, after each game day and all the super chats I get, I do not bounce back well the next day. But that is until I found Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So this Halloween, pair your candy and cocktails with ZBiotics to avoid a spooky next morning. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code CHATSPORTS at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout for 15% off. Shout out to ZBiotics for sponsoring today's video. Moving on to my second key to victory, offensive line domination. The Browns won the line of scrimmage. They won in the trenches against the 49ers, and that was crucial to the victory. Let's keep it going. I want to show you some Week 6 run blocking grades from PFF. Jed Wills, 78.1. His highest of the year and his highest in nearly a full calendar year. Michael Dunn playing with one calf in the game, 62.5. Ethan Posick, 67.2. I think that's his second best of the season. Wyatt Teller, 71.4. DeJuan Jones, 74.1. The thing that's been holding him back, slowing him down the most is run blocking. And here he goes out there against Nick Bosa, Hargrave, and the rest of this fierce 49ers front and has the best game as a run blocker in the NFL. Whether it is a banged-up Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker starting, the Browns have to be able to run the football again. They didn't score a touchdown on Sunday by passing it. No, it was off a little bit of creativity and an awesome job executing at the line of scrimmage and blocking for Kareem Hunt and some good vision by 27 as well. You got to be able to win up front again. The Colts, they are a well-coached team. They're going to be physical. They are not some West Coast candy-ass program. No, they did not get to 3-3 by playing light. They play hard, they're physical, they tackle, so you got to be able to run block well and dominate up front again. Third key to victory for Cleveland, stuffing the run. Flipping the page here and talking about the other side of the line here, the defensive line, specifically Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson, one of the marquee free agent signings by Andrew Berry this offseason, had the best game as a Cleveland Brown this past Sunday against the 49ers. 1 tackle, 2 hurries, 1 stop on 37 snaps. Now, I want to show you guys a little bit of a film breakdown here. We're going to look at 2 plays, okay? You can see Dalvin Tomlinson right there. Well, first off, look at Christian McCaffrey. He's got a pretty good hole to run through. He's got a DB at the top of the screen running the wrong direction. He's got 1 linebacker to beat, and then he could be down to Juan Thornhill in the middle of the field away from going to the end zone. But there is Dalvin Tomlinson sandwiched between 2 49ers players and a teammate of his own, and his head barely sticks out. You want to know who makes the tackle on this play? Dalvin Tomlinson fights through all that traffic, and he takes down Christian McCaffrey. That's one of the better plays we've seen from him all year. But it's not just in run stopping. Look at this next play here, okay? 49ers moving down the field on the Browns' half of the 50, and this is going to be a play action. Dalvin Tomlinson sees it all the way. He's got great eyes. He's looking in the backfield right now, and he knows this is not going to be a handoff. So what does Tomlinson do? He works off the block, and now he is hurrying Brock Purdy, who is throwing the ball, and George Kittle isn't even looking back yet. This one's going to go out of bounds for an incomplete pass. Dalvin Tomlinson this past game was magnificent. By far his best game as a Cleveland Brown. He was getting it done, stopping the run. He was disrupting the passing game for San Francisco. Tomlinson was awesome. We got to get more of this. They've got a good defensive line. Jordan Elliott is actually looking like a, dare I say, startable NFL player. You've got a good deep rotation across the board. But Tomlinson, he could be one of those MIPs. not minor in possession, most important players. We're like, if he's not out there, that interior D-line is just not going to be the same. But who has been the best free agent addition so far on the defensive side? Would you go with Dalvin Tomlinson or Okoronkwo or Juan Thornhill or Zadarius Smith? There are a lot of good options, and you can make good arguments. So let me know. Who do you think has been the best addition for the Browns on defense? Okay, fourth key to victory. Don't sleep on Gardner Minshew. Don't get caught doing what the 49ers just did all week, thinking, they're playing P.J. Walker. This is a win. We can just sleepwalk our way over there. And even if we play our C game, we're still going to beat. They got the backup quarterback in. No. Don't sleep on Gardner Minshew, okay? This year, in 6 games, he's kind of gone in and out for Indianapolis, but he's definitely the starting quarterback moving forward with Anthony Richardson out. 882 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Look at his career numbers. Did anyone expect Gardner Minshew in his career to have that touchdown to interception ratio? 47 to 18 in 38 games, 7,500 yards. Like, Gardner Minshew is as good as they come backup quarterback-wise. Minshew, by the way, has 7 games with over 300 passing yards and just 26 career starts. For reference, Baker Mayfield had 10 games with over 300 passing yards and 59 starts while in Cleveland. So Gardner Minshew is not afraid to let it rip. He's not going to be some timid check down Charlie. He's going to go deep sometimes. And DB's thinking, well, they got the backup quarterback in. I don't have to worry about, my 6. No one's going to get behind me, and he's definitely not going to risk throwing it over there. Oh, no. Gardner will, and he has done it well. So with that being said, my 5th and final key to victory for Cleveland, don't pull a 49ers. Don't do what you just benefited from, which is thinking we can go on the road, play a team's backup quarterback. We're hot shit right now. Who's going to touch us? No, don't do what the 49ers just did. Respect your opponent. Don't go over there and start instigating stuff before the game, poking the bear, poking the dog. Don't do it. Poking, I guess, the horse in this case. Take the Colts serious. They're not 3-3 by accident. They are a good football team. They might be better in some ways with Gardner Minshew, which, listen, Anthony Richardson was having a good start to the year, but Minshew is a more proven veteran player who could probably do a little bit better of running an offense early on in the season compared to a rookie. Do not pull a 49ers. But predict the score for me. Browns versus Colts. Midweek right now, so shoot your shot. Let's see if you can get it right this far in advance. Browns versus Colts. What are your score predictions? Let me know down in the comment section. My score prediction, I'm going to go Cleveland wins 27-7. Another masterpiece by Jim Schwartz and this defense. And the Browns offense, whether it's with Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker at quarterback, I think it's going to be a lot better in a dome against a Colts defense compared to a 49ers defense. What are those score predictions? Let me know in the comment section. Cool Guy, 33-12. Pee-wee's Burnt Pizza, Deshaun Watson plays 33-0, if not 21-0. I like it. Nick has Cleveland winning 20-13. Josh is going with 27-10. I've got Redfern saying 33-16 Cleveland. 21-10 Brownies coming in from Colonafo, something like that. Ray Bidding 27-6 Browns. Steven, what's going on, Steven? 34-3 Brownies, love it. Ty Man's 31-10 Browns. E216 24-13 Browns. And Buckeye Browns 27-3. Jacob Kistner 23-10. Okay, should we get ready for our mailbag now? I don't want to hold up people for much longer. If you have a question, hashtag Browns. Get those questions in right now because once we get the mailbag started, it's not as easy to get yourself at the top of the line. So keep getting those questions in right now. Or if you want to support the show and super chat, by all means, they're always appreciated. And if you do, we guarantee your question gets on screen. You will skip the line, get right to the front. So if you want to go above and beyond and support the show, super chats are awesome. But, no pressure whatsoever. Hashtag Browns in the chat also works as well. All right. See, Grant got hashtag Browns in this time. Can we get 2 clap for Grant? 1, 2. Let's go, Grant. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready? Do we have enough questions? Okay. Let's get into it. Let's talk Browns. Well, I guess whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't know what we're talking about. All right, here we go. Welcome on into a Cleveland Browns mailbag. I'm going to answer the questions that our viewers asked during our live show, which aired on Tuesday. Dr. Brown leading things off here. Should the Browns worry about losing Jim Schwartz this season? Yes or no? Oof. Fair question and a fair point to raise right now. What I'd say is this. Not very often do you see NFL defensive coaches get a second chance at head coaching, right? Leslie Frazier kind of got some buzz in Buffalo the last couple of years, but no one ultimately hired him. Look at the teams that could be hiring coaches soon. A lot of them are firing potentially defensive coaches, right? Like the Bears, Matt Eberflus, defensive coach. They'll probably want to go in offensive direction. So those things allow me to sleep a little bit easier at night, believing there's probably not going to be a team out there that wants a near 60-year-old Jim Schwartz defensive-minded coach. And if I'm Jim Schwartz, sure, if you can get another opportunity to head coach again, that'd be awesome. I doubt he'd pass on it. But we have seen a lot of defensive coordinators content with staying put. Like Leslie Frazier, like I mentioned in Buffalo, comes to mind as someone's like, you know what? I've got a good thing going here. This defense is awesome. I'm doing the best job as a coach in my entire coaching career. Why kind of risk it all for a really, really bad team? So should Browns fans be worried? I don't think they should be worried as maybe as fans of other teams are going to make you believe. They're just trying to get your goat. Joshua Miller, next one up. Jim Schwartz was our best defensive signing. Guys, go back to a video I put out in, I want to say August, maybe July, end of July, where I did power rankings 1 through 10 of the best offseason moves the Browns made. Number 1 was Jim Schwartz. I mean, somewhere Joe Woods is cursing to himself every drive home from work going, I had pretty much all those guys. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and I had Denzel Ward sitting in zone every single play, and I had an awesome defense filled with talent, and I lost it. So yeah, Jim Schwartz has been incredible, Josh. Great point. So in fact, let's show Jim Schwartz some love right now. Thank you, producer Trace, for whipping this up really quickly. Like the video right now. I don't know if Jim Schwartz is an online guy, but if he happens to stumble across this video, maybe someone sends it to him, I'd love for him to see the dog pound showing him some love, and maybe that's enough for him in January to go, yeah, screw the Bears job. How about I stay in Cleveland and help this team win another Super Bowl? Potentially. Nick H with $1 super chat. Nick, thank you very much for supporting the show. Go Brownies. All right, next question coming up is from Tyrone. Tyrone, I don't want to be that guy, and this might be a dumb idea. I can't wait to see where this sentence goes. But because of our history, trade for Juju Smith-Schuster? No, I do not think Juju Smith-Schuster is a good football player. 2 takes that I had that at the time were wildly unpopular that now are pretty good takes was I was out on Chase Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster back in like 2019, 2020-ish. Not interested in Juju. I just don't think he's a good player. He was the number 1 wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes, and he put up like 750 yards. Pass. Grant, next one up on the show. Should the Browns trade for a running back? Remember when Andrew Berry spoke to the media before the bye? It's like, you guys all think the bye is like tomorrow. I don't think the bye is anytime soon. This past Sunday is what he was talking about. There are still, at the time when he said that, 3 more games to be played before the NFL trade deadline. The Browns are going to wait and see how their running back room looks after all 3 of those games. And after the 49ers game, when Hunt and Ford rushed for a combined 130 yards, I doubt they're dying to trade for a running back. Maybe they sign a running back. I mean, as I'm filming this on Tuesday, the Rams added Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson. The Packers, added James Robinson. So maybe Leonard Fournette could get signed if they're not sure about their running back room. But I don't think they're going to be giving up assets to go trade for a running back. Mike Dibble, what's going on, Mike? Could you see us trading DPJ and some draft picks for Judy? I think if the Browns were to win a few more games, if they knock off the Colts, maybe they, let's just say at worst, because I don't think they're going to go 0-2 the next stretch here. At worst, 1-1. I mean, that would have them at 4-3, right? And that would probably be in a spot where Andrew Berry feels even more pressure to like go all in because they're right there on the cusp of putting together something great. But if they go 2-0 this next stretch and they go from 3-2 to 5-2, man, maybe Barry feels like we got a good thing here and we don't want to switch up a key part of our offense and really bring in some new blood. So could I see the Browns doing it? Yes. It's Andrew Berry. Never put it past him. Do I think they're going to trade DPJ and picks for Judy? At this moment, I don't. Mark Stevenson, what's up with the pregame extracurriculars? Like the San Francisco game and the Dallas Chargers game. According to PJ Walker, Nick Bosa was saying personal things before the game. I think, Mark, this is a good reminder to NFL fans that there is a lot said between players to players and even players to officials that we never hear about. And you get little snippets of it when every once in a while a player speaks to the media and they're like, what happened? And they're like, well, we're going to keep it on the field, right? There is a code amongst players of like, what's said on the field stays on the field. But what's going on? I don't know. I think what we have is a very weird football year, like college to NFL, but specifically NFL here, where no one really wants to assert themselves as the best team in football. So everyone just feels like it's wide open. So they're like, why not us mentality? And let's go out there and stir the pot a little bit and amp ourselves up. That's my best guess, Mark. I'm not quite sure. Lil Beam, next one up. Do you think PJ Walker should be the backup for the rest of the season and Jalen Darden be our new return man? Let's say Deshaun Watson comes back and he is healthy the rest of the way. One, PJ Walker's still on the practice squad. I should start with that. He was called up, but he was not added to the 53-man roster. If they want to add him to the 53-man roster, then they got to take someone off the 53-man roster. They got that one DB, Khalifa, something like that, they got from the Chiefs right after the roster cutdown day. He's probably the 53rd guy on the roster. But if Watson comes back and he's healthy, I doubt they want to burn a roster spot on a third quarterback where they could just keep him on the practice squad the rest of the way. As for Jalen Darden being the new return man, yeah, let's not have DPJ do that anymore. It's just not really a good fit. I'd rather have at least someone who's somewhat specialized in return responsibilities do that job. Before we get to the rest of our questions, our sportsbook partner, BetUS, has an awesome deal for the Dog Pound. You guys know about it already. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125 will unlock a 125% deposit bonus. Now, I just want to hear from everyone right now. What are your college football or NFL weekend locks? Look ahead for a moment, pause the video, take 2 minutes, and find me a lock and comment it below. And I'm going to ride with you over on BetUS, and we can get rich together. So chatsports.com/bet, promo code Browns125. $5 super chat from Nick H. I hear the Giants are in fire sale mode. Should we give a third for Saquon Barkley? My fear at this is you get Saquon Barkley, and 3 weeks later, he's going to have an injured ankle. So, yeah, Saquon Barkley is an awesome talent, and when he's healthy, he's great. But the fact that he started the year off with an injury that is likely to kind of return again in a high ankle sprain, that does not seem like a good idea of a trade target, right? If he was healthy and you could actually get him for a third, yeah, you'd be crazy not to. If you could have Saquon over Ford and Hunt for just a third-round pick, I would do that. But that high ankle sprain is probably going to linger for the rest of the season, so that definitely scares me. David Botner, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, fellas. I'm just a realist who doesn't live in La La Land fandom. Stefanski, oh, damn. I had a feeling that's where this was going. David, we're filming, for everyone watching right now, we're filming on Tuesday, so it's a little bit different on Tuesday compared to a few days later. Listen, you don't have to love Stefanski, but just don't be a negative Nancy after wins. We're Cleveland Browns fans. We don't get Victory Monday very often. Enjoy it. Please. David Washington. Why do you think Alex Van Pelt isn't given an opportunity to call a game since he's the offensive coordinator? I mean, Stefanski was the play caller in Minnesota. Was he the play caller in Minnesota? I can't remember. I think maybe 1 year. I don't remember for sure. Regardless, he wants to call plays. calling plays is like the coolest thing in the NFL. That's the whole point of going to the NFL, I think, is to call plays. We do playing Madden our whole lives growing up. So I don't blame Stefanski for not wanting to give up the coolest job in the world, which is calling plays for an offense. We all want to call plays, right? So why is AVP not giving that shot? Because Kevin Stefanski wants to call plays. Joshua Miller, who deserves the next extension? Great question, Josh. Good one to end on. Grant Delpit, JOK, or Dustin Hopkins? Can I throw a question to you? Would you rather have Dustin Hopkins or DeAndre Hopkins right now? But I think Grant Delpit is the answer to this question. JOK through 3 years has, unfortunately gotten injured every single season. Knock on wood, that does not continue. Whereas Grant Delpit, after the Achilles injury, has been reliable and available every step of the way. He looks like someone who could absolutely be a Pro Bowl safety. And linebackers are just not the same value that they used to have in the NFL. JOK is a bit of a different breed. It looks like he kind of put on some weight, and he's still as fast as a safety, but as strong as a linebacker. But I think Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward would be an incredible lockdown duo to have in terms of the leader of your safeties and the leader of your corners for the next 4 seasons or so. So I would take a Grant Delpit extension over those 3 guys. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate people taking time out of their day to come hang out with us here. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, type me in the chat. It's always good to see who watches all the way through. All right, get those locks in. I want to know.
I'm actually curious as to what y'all have here because I'm trying to win some cash this weekend.
Yep. Cool guy, Nick, Ray, Iron Patel, Ty Man. I love it. I'm in a pick'em league, and I got out to a really good start, but I've kind of cooled off lately. So I kind of need a bounce back.
That's tough.
I need a bounce back one. Someone give me a lock, please. Lock of the week. Steelers. Okay, my one rule when it comes to locks. I hate when people do this. You got to give me both teams playing. I hate when people go, dude, Panthers -4. Who are they playing?
Who? Yeah.
I have a pretty good memory when it comes to the NFL schedule, but no. The Panthers they're off this week, actually. I didn't know that. But I don't know. The Seahawks, I think, are off too. Okay.
Nick says Penn State over Ohio State. I don't know if that's a lock, but I don't hate that as good value.
Man, it feels like this is like put up or shut up moment for James Franklin, right?
Yeah.
Penn State finally looks like they have a roster and a quarterback that can hang with Ohio State and Michigan. Is this the year they really put it all together? Ohio State's looked good, but they've looked vulnerable at times. That's a good. That's gonna be a good game. I also a little fun fact about PD. I never bet on great matchups. Yeah. I want to watch Penn State and Ohio State and enjoy the game, not be sitting on my couch damn it, I bet the under, and that touchdown, which just made it 52-49, ruined it.
Yep.
I want to enjoy the game.
Or the other one is oh, wow, crazy touchdown, last second, but they didn't cover the spread. They didn't cover my spread,
exactly.
Come on, that was a crazy play.
Yeah. Lions over the Ravens from Mike Dibble. I don't hate that one.
That's a good one.
I don't hate it, Mike.
I like it.
Ray says Browns over the Colts. I like it. Lions +3 over the Ravens for sure. Okay, lock of the week. Steelers lose game-winning field goal against the Rams. What do I think? I think the Rams are not a good football team.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers are not a good football team. So I kind of like this one being the Pittsburgh Steelers coming out of a bye. We got to do some deep soul searching. We just lost to the Rams out of the bye. Might not be our year. Sorry, Mike. Joshua Miller, Rams over F Pitt. Lock it up. All right, as a group, can we all get down to this? Don't be the one guy who doesn't do it. Because if the Rams beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, you cannot celebrate. You've got to put yourself in a online celebration timeout. I did that for 30 minutes. I didn't tweet a single thing for 30 minutes after the Browns beat the 49ers.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Accountability.
Hey, I love it.
I had the 49ers winning.
I love it.
So I was like, you know what? Hand up. I got it wrong. I'm not going to come in here and hang out with all you guys.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
You didn't even pick him to win.
You weren't even invited.
So I took 30 minutes off. And then I joined.
That's fair.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't just join. I brought an appetizer.
Hey, if you bring a good dip.
Yeah. Oh, I brought a great dip.
You're the king of the show.
You know what I brought? I brought the 7-layer dip.
Oh.
That's what I just did. I brought the 7-layer dip.
Champion right there.
Yep.
Champion move.
Josh, thank you for the super chat. We got Terrell. Oh, I did see Terrell Owens get hit by a car, but I didn't read anything about it. Hopefully he's okay. Keep getting those locks in really quickly. And we've got 200 people hanging out with us right now. If we get some more super chats, you guys know the drill by now. We can continue going. But otherwise, studio space is at a premium here at Chat Sports. It's actually pretty crazy to see, Trace, just like how much we have grown lately. Yeah. And there's just so much content that needs to get filmed and whatnot across NFL, NBA, college football. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot of sports going on right now, so it's a good time to be talking about it.
Ooh, Bills over Patriots from TLH Arts and Projects. Okay.
But here's my thing with that. Bill Belichick has too much pride to lose to the Bills.
Dude,
that's the thing.
Here's the thing. I have taken Bill Belichick for the pride factor alone. My biggest lock of the week, the last 2 weeks, was the Patriots are not losing at home to Dennis Allen and the Saints. Trace's Saints.
Hell yeah.
I was wrong.
So
what did I do? I said, okay, I was wrong that week. But surely they're not losing to the Raiders and Mike McDaniels. And they lost that game. So I'm done betting on the Patriots. Oh, Joshua Miller. I saw Trey smile, and I was like, what's so smile over there? Oh, Balls win at Bama, baby. When it comes to big games like this, I don't even think I'll go out for it. I want to be on my couch. I want to have control of the audio. I don't want to have my view obstructed for any moment at all. Bama's not Bama, but man, they have quietly
lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, they blew it against They blew the cover against Arkansas, but Bama's looking like a winnable team this year.
Yeah,
but they also at the same time might run the table and win out. That would be the most Bama thing ever.
It's the Nick Saban effect, man.
Yeah, but Josh, I love it. Go Vols, baby. Go Vols. Good old Rocky Top.
Woo!
Rocky Top, Tennessee. All right, let's end with this one right here from Lil Beam. Should the Browns trade for Danielle Hunter? Danielle Hunter is going to be the belle of the ball, right? Don't drop the soap. Don't drop the soap. Before the NFL trade deadline, as he is the best edge rusher that will be available. And edge rushers before the trade deadline, it's like lefty closers. Every competing team in baseball wants one, right? Who's going to get Josh Hader? I don't think the Browns need to get Danielle Hunter. They've got a really good defensive line as it is. It's going to cost you a second-round pick for Danielle Hunter. They don't have a first already. How many snaps is Danielle Hunter going to get? You've already got Zadarius Smith and Okoronkwo. For crying out loud, Alex Wright has played well. I don't think you need to give up a second-rounder for Danielle Hunter. I'd rather keep that second-rounder. You're going to need it next year because the Browns are not going to be as active in free agency as they were this past year. There's a good chance that second-rounder might have to be a starting player somewhere, right? Whether it's a running back, whether it's a Jed Wills replacement, whether it's a linebacker because Walker and Taki are on one-year deals. Like, let's save that second rounder, please. Garrett Watts with a $2 super chat. If we don't get any more super chats, this will be the last one. How much of the defensive production is from bad weather? Well, let's go through the Browns' first 5 games, right? Bengals game, bad weather. Week 2, Pittsburgh, normal, fine weather, and the defense gave up 13 points. 12 or 13. Week 3 against the Tennessee Titans, fine weather, and they gave up 3 points. Week 4 against the Baltimore Ravens, they gave up 28 points. 14 of those points came when the defense started in their own red zone. So, meet me in the middle. We'll call it 21 on the defense. That sound fair? And then 49ers, bad weather, and they gave up 16 points. Like, we've got a big enough sample size at this point. 5 games under our belt, some at home, some on the road, some in good weather, some not in so good weather, to have a good idea as to who this defense is. And it's not like this defense is getting bailed out because Brandon Ayuk is slipping on the route, and Grant Delpit conveniently is right behind him for the interception. No, that's not what happened here. Trent Williams is not getting bullied by Myles Garrett because it's a little rainy. No, Myles Garrett's Myles Garrett. So I'm not going to chalk much, if any, up to the weather. Joshua Miller, Michigan State upsets. University of Michigan in Lansing. So this is a green screen right here. Stick with me for a moment. On the other side of that wall is my boss, host of the Michigan Football Report. Big Go Blue guy. I'm going to lower my voice a little because I don't want to get fired. But I don't think it happens still.
I don't think it happens either.
Michigan State.
Just really don't want to get fired.
Yeah. Michigan State is bad. They're bad. Michigan's defense is too good.
Michigan's really good, too.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But maybe Michigan stutters elsewhere, but it's not going to be against the Spartans. They're so bad. Oh, another super chat. Let's go. By all means, feel free to go to the Michigan Football Report for any Buckeyes fans watching right now. Tell them Petey sent you. Chrome Persona. Is this the sack week for Garrett? Myles Garrett had 3.5 sacks against the Tennessee Titans. So, maybe I'm not understanding what you're asking, but, he's had sacks. Could I change your question, Chrome, and say, is this the sack week for Zadarius Smith? Because he has still to record a sack. He's got lots of pressures. And my pushback, or my reasoning, I should say, is the Browns, they're big. This is my video yesterday. Their biggest weakness is they're so good. They just get off the field too quickly to get a sack. They walk on the field, right? Hello. First down, second down, third down, goodbye. That's it. When's an opportunity for them to get a sack or first interception? Whereas a defense that gets out there and the opponent starts their own 20 and they march all the way down to the 19-yard line and then they get a sack right there. Well, yeah, it was a 10-play drive. You had 10 chances. And they pass the ball on those 10 plays, say 5 times. You go out there for first, second, and third down, run on first and 10, run on second and 8, pass on third and 8. They only threw the ball once. And they probably got it out very quickly because they know Myles Garrett's coming for them. So, they're not getting any chances. I bet the Browns defense might get together sometime and go, let's just suck this drive so that we can at least get a sack at some point or an interception. Because I'm tired of not boosting our stats. That might be a conversation that happens. But it's pretty awesome to watch. They just walk off the field every time. Can you imagine going to work? Actually going to work and I'm just going to play on TikTok half the time. Because 3 downs and I'm out. They have forced 25 3-and-outs. 5 games so far. That's 5 a game. 5 times 17 is 85. Check my math. Trace, do you want to guess how many 3-and-outs they had last year? They're on pace for 85 this year. All of last year. I counted.
Around.
I went box score by game drive series, drive by drive every single game last year.
I'm going to go with 54. I don't know why. That just feels like
41.
Oh, wow.
And they're at 25 already.
They're already halfway there.
They're 60% of the way there. And we're at week 5. Yeah. All right. This has been awesome. As always, I really appreciate people that take time out of their Tuesdays to come tune in for our live Cleveland Browns reports. Trace, thank you so much for everything you did behind the scenes to help get this thing off the ground. We're going to sign off. We're going to see you guys throughout the week. I will have to go home for my dad's winning an award. He's winning a Boy Scout award. Yeah. So I got to fly home for that on Thursday. So I'm still going to get videos out, but there might be a video from my parents' house. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys later.